It started sometime in early fall. Small things barely noticeable. Drivers slowing down as they passed him. Older folks turning their heads twice when he jogged by. A woman walking her dog crossing to the other side of the street. Nothing Marcus hadn't experienced before as a black man living in a mostly white suburban neighborhood. But still, Brookfield Heights had always felt different. People waved here. Neighbors borrowed sugar. Kids sold lemonade on corners without their parents hovering nervously. He had never felt out of place. Not until he did. This morning, though, he tried to shake it off. He was too tired for the weight of other people's perceptions. As he approached Maple Drive, a long, tree-lined street that curved around a small man-made lake, he noticed a silver SUV crawling along behind him. Not close enough to be alarming, but slow, too slow, like the driver wasn't sure where they were going. He felt the prickle on his neck. Again, he thought. He kept running. Controlled pace. Don't look anxious. Don't look back again. But curiosity wrested control, and he glanced over his shoulder. The SUV eased to a stop. A man stepped out. White, mid-50s, stocky, wearing a police badge clipped to his belt and an off-duty holster at his hip. Marcus's chest tightened. "Hey," the man called out. Marcus kept running. He didn't owe anyone anything. He was doing nothing wrong. "Hey," the man shouted again louder. This time he heard footsteps behind him, heavy and fast. Marcus stopped, not because the man told him to, because running from someone with a gun never ended well. He turned, breathing hard, not from the run, but from the sudden flood of adrenaline. "What's the problem?" Marcus asked, palms open, voice careful. The officer, because that's clearly what he was, stopped a few feet away. He looked wound-tight, like a man trying to control a situation that didn't yet exist. "You live around here?" he demanded. Marcus felt a flicker of disbelief. "Yeah," he said slowly. "On Sycamore. I'm just running. Is something wrong?" "We got a call about a suspicious person in the neighborhood," the officer said. "Suspicious how?" Marcus asked. The officer didn't answer the question. "Mind showing me some ID?" "Seriously?" Marcus said, incredulous. "I'm jogging." "Who carries ID on a jog?" The man's jaw clenched. "Look, just cooperate. It'll go faster." "Cooperate with what?" Marcus thought bitterly. But instead he said, "What's your name?" "Sergeant Neil Harkins," the man replied, pulling out his badge. Brookfield Heights Police Department. It looked legit, but that didn't mean he was. Marcus let out a slow breath. "I'm not refusing anything. I'm just trying to understand the situation." Harkins exhaled in frustration. "Look, we've had some break-ins. People are jumpy." A neighbor called in saying someone matching your description was casing houses. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, swallowing the sting. "Someone matching your description." He opened them again. "I was running. That's all." "Then you won't mind answering a few questions," Harkins said, trying for calm, but failing. Something in his voice, fear, tension, maybe something darker, made Marcus's pulse race faster. This wasn't going to end well. A garage door rumbled open nearby, and both men turned as a woman in scrubs stepped out. "Oh," she said, startled. "Everything okay?" Harkins straightened. "Just checking on a suspicious." "Marcus?" she interrupted. Recognition softened her face. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was you." Harkins blinked. "You know him?" She nodded quickly. "He's my patient's nephew. Visits all the time. He runs through here almost every morning." Marcus forced a small smile, though his heart was pounding. Harkins shifted awkwardly. "Well, there was a call." The woman frowned. "About Marcus? He's literally the least suspicious person on this block." Harkins' irritation sharpened. "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job." "But you're mistaken," she said gently but firmly. "And he doesn't have ID because he's jogging." "No one does." Marcus felt a tiny wave of relief until he saw Harkins' face flush red. Embarrassment. The most dangerous kind. The woman turned to Marcus. "I'm so sorry this happened." People jumped to conclusions. Harkins snapped. "Ma'am, please step back. This is still inactive." "It's not," she said, and maybe that final statement, or the way she dismissed him, made something crack inside the sergeant. His hand twitched toward his holster. Marcus saw it. Time slowed. "No," Marcus said sharply. "Don't. I said step back." Harkins yelled. though both Marcus and the woman were already frozen. But the woman took one instinctive half-step toward Marcus, like she was trying to support him. Harkins drew. Marcus's blood turned to ice. "Jesus, put it down." The woman gasped. "Are you kidding?" Harkins barked, "Don't move." Marcus raised his hands so fast his shoulders ached. "I'm not moving. I'm not." "Stop," the woman cried. A neighbor across the street opened their door. A dog barked. The world narrowed into a single, terrible moment. Harkins' eyes darted around wildly. "He was reaching," he shouted, though Marcus hadn't moved an inch. "No," Marcus began. A crack split the air. The woman screamed. Marcus staggered backward, his vision exploding white. He felt heat burn across his side, heard the echo of his own breath leaving his body. He collapsed onto the cold pavement. Sirens arrived fast, but not fast enough to stop the bleeding. Marcus lay on the ground, blinking up at the winter-pale sky, the branches overhead swaying gently in the breeze. He could still hear the woman sobbing, shouting at the officers that arrived second, screaming that Marcus hadn't done anything. Harkins was pacing, frantic, repeating over and over, "He reached. He reached. I told him to stop." Marcus tried to speak, but his lungs refused to cooperate. He tried to lift his hand, but it felt like stone. He wasn't dying, was he? No. People survived worse, right? A graze. A wound. A mistake. He felt warmth on his fingers. Someone holding his hand. The woman in scrubs leaned over him. "Stay with me," she pleaded. "Stay with me, Marcus." Her voice cracked with each word. The world began to dim. Marcus thought of his mother's laugh, of summer barbecues with his cousins, of the silly way the kids next door tried to race him whenever he jogged by, of how he planned to call in sick tomorrow and finally rest. He wanted to hold on to something. Anything, but everything slipped away. The story didn't end on Maple Drive. In the hours that followed, Brookfield Heights transformed. Whispered conversations became angry debates. Neighbors who had waved politely for years suddenly found themselves split into camps. Those who believed Marcus had done nothing wrong, and those who insisted Harkins must have had reason. News trucks arrived by afternoon. By evening, protests formed. By next morning, national headlines. Unarmed black jogger shot by off-duty officer in suburban neighborhood. Some residents brought flowers to the spot where Marcus fell. Others closed their blinds and complained about media circus. In the house 2 blocks away, the woman who had saved him from a worse fate and still failed to save his life sat at her kitchen table, face in her hands, replaying the scene endlessly. She kept thinking, if I hadn't stepped outside, if I hadn't startled him, but deep down she knew the truth. Marcus wasn't a threat. He was never a threat. He was just a man running, and someone chose to see danger instead of humanity. At the vigil held 3 nights later, Marcus's mother stood before hundreds of flickering candles. Her voice shook as she spoke. "My son loved to run," she whispered. "He ran to clear his mind, to feel alive, to start his day in peace." She paused, her breath hitching. Running shouldn't be a death sentence. A hush spread through the crowd. "But I don't want Marcus to be remembered only for how he died," she continued. "I want him remembered for how he lived, with kindness, with patience, with hope, even when the world gave him reasons not to." She lifted her eyes, tears shining in the light of the candles. "I want this to mean something. Not another headline, not another debate. Something real." People nodded, cried, took her words into their bones. Because deep down, everyone knew a single truth. What happened could happen anywhere, to anyone. And until something changed, morning runs in quiet neighborhoods would never feel quite the same. A small plaque was placed at the curve of Maple Drive a month later. It read, "In memory of Marcus Ellis, who should have made a home." Runners paused when they passed it. Some touched the metal. Some whispered a quiet apology. And sometimes, on certain mornings, the street was alive with dozens of joggers, men and women, young and old, black and white, running not just for exercise, but for Marcus. A silent promise saw them through each step. We remember. We will not look away. And in those early hours, as day broke gently over Brookfield Heights, It was impossible not to imagine Marcus among them. Strong, steady, unstoppable, running the route he loved, finishing the morning he never got to complete.